For the first keynote, we are talking about exactly what the topic of this CDO in this year is. Beyond the AI buzz, how to create sustainable value. And who could that do better than our co-CEO Tobias Schröer and also head of the Department for Production Management. He's going to give you an overview about what the actual potential of artificial intelligence is and how we also need to design our organizations and capabilities in order to be able to leverage this potential. Tobias, I'm happy to welcome you on stage.
Hello, Gerrit. Thank you for your introduction. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to talk about AI. And actually, if I can start right now, I'm here. Right. I'm here to warn you.
Stage is yours.
So I think my role today is to warn you a little bit. I think we heard an interesting introduction about the day and what we're going to hear today. And Christian said, AI is very approachable. AI is very close. It's very easy to use AI. And while this may be the case for consumers, it seems to be the case for commercial applications. But if you think a bit more about the issues that we have, it might be not so easy to really get the value out of your AI use cases as a company. And I think we need to step back a little bit and think about mistakes we have done in the past. Because AI is something that we need. AI will help us to really overcome the major challenges that we have right now. But at the same time, we need to think about the mistakes we made in the past and not do those mistakes again. Let's talk about the situation that we are in right now. Bureaucracy is the fourth biggest risk for companies worldwide right now. Think about it. Bureaucracy is one of the biggest risks for companies. We have a 10-year high for insolvencies, for bankruptcies among German companies for 2025. We are really in a very tough economic situation right now. 90% of the world's rare earth elements were preceded in China. I mean, that's not new, but in the past years, we learned what dependencies we have from a geopolitical perspective. And I don't need to remind you that during the last 10, 20 years, we worked on globalization of our supply chains, and now we have the risks in our supply chains. So to sum this up, we have fragile supply chains, we have very tense economic situations, and companies are overwhelmed by bureaucratic requirements that they need to fulfill. From our point of view, there are two major aspects that will help us to solve the issues that we have right now. One is AI. AI is a technology that can really help us to be more efficient, especially on the use of human resources that we don't have in Germany, that we don't have in Europe, that's not available to us, and we need to be successful from an economical perspective. And on the other hand, to be sustainable, and the main idea to be sustainable is to work in a circular economy, to use things that we have done in the past. So if we produce something, then we put effort into a product, we put human resources into a product, we put energy into a product, and we don't want to do this again for the next generation of the product. If that's still okay, so if that's still good to use, we need to reuse it, we need to remanufacture things and keep the level of value as high as possible, and don't only recycle products from and have, let's say, a reuse of just the aluminium, for example. Today, my focus will be on artificial intelligence, because also to achieve a upgrade circular economy, we will need artificial intelligence because the change of our value chains will be dramatic and it will be fast, and we need technologies like AI in order to adapt as fast as we need to adapt. There's one issue with AI. We have very high expectations on one hand. So companies like NVIDIA are one of the most valuable companies in the world. The market size of artificial intelligence is projected to be sky high, and we think about our GDP could be, that's a study of PwC, 14% higher in 2030 as a result of AI. That's huge expectations. On the other hand, what have we earned so far? Almost nothing. So all the market size of the artificial intelligence market, the valuation of the companies on the stock market is based on expectations, solely on expectations. I mean, you can see applications of AI, but they don't generate the value that we expect them to generate. Therefore, at the moment, on the other hand, only 1% of organizations describe themselves as being mature in AI deployment. So if we think about not consumer use, but organizational use, only 1% of companies say about themselves that they are mature. So what do we do now? We have a problem because companies that are not able to adopt the technology of artificial intelligence fast enough will not be successful in the future. If we think about a fundamental change of our value chains, then we also need to adapt AI faster than we are used to adapt technologies. And this is what I want to show you here. So traditional technologies tend to be slow in terms of adaptation. So it takes time until these technologies really are valuable to us as a company. AI maybe is almost ready, but we are not mature to use it. So it might be the idea that we have to be faster now and we have to find use case 1, use case 2. We really have to get going in using AI because ChatGPT is available, Gen AI is available. Why don't we use it company-wide? Why don't we get the value out of the technology? But here, I think we have to step back a little bit and think about the past. I remember 4 years ago, I was standing here at the same convention talking about the prototype purgatory of Industry 4.0. So what have we done? Our expectations on Industry 4.0 was that we have better product quality and at the same time less cost. That we integrate our data and systems and data is available everywhere and we are still able to customize products in a matter of mass customizations. All our decisions will be data-driven and still we are flexible. Those were the promises of Industry 4.0. Remember the challenges, remember the obstacles. Do you have all your data connected and available as of today? Or do you have a data overload without any actual insight into your specific data? Do you really have a return on invest on your specific use cases? Or was it just cost? If you take a look into studies, our productivity hasn't increased in the last 10 years. So maybe we haven't earned what we wanted to earn from Industry 4.0. And there were a lot of obstacles, cybersecurity concerns, just siloed implementations. That's what I talked about regarding the prototype purgatory. We have still running a lot of legacy systems. We still have interoperability issues. And we still have workforce resistance. If we think about collecting data from the shop floor and taking decisions based on the data that we collected from the shop floor, we still have gaps in our skills. And just to remind you, that's not AI, that's Industry 4.0. We introduced Industry 4.0 15 years ago. And what was the main mistake that we have done in the past? The main mistake was that we thought about one use case after another. We presented you the Internet of Production as a solution approach where we collect all the data and use it case by case on an application level, but it was not worth it to build a data lake for each and every use case. It's the same. It's exactly the same with artificial intelligence. We have one advantage. If you step back from the specific use cases that you want to achieve with your artificial intelligence applications, it's just 3 things that you can do with AI. It's generation, might be generation of text, generation of images, generation of videos. It's pattern recognition to actually make meaning out of data. And it's prediction, to use data and project it into the future. That's the 3 basic applications of artificial intelligence. But in order to be able to make use of these 3 basic value drivers, you need, unfortunately, a lot. And again, it's the same as with Industry 4.0. From a human perspective, you need acceptance. If your people, if your workers don't accept AI as a technology that's helpful, but rather see it as a threat, you will not adopt artificial intelligence in your company. If you do not have the competencies and qualifications, you will not use artificial intelligence in your company. If there's no proper role understanding and you don't have someone actually being responsible for your AI use cases, you will not adopt artificial intelligence. From a technology perspective, in order to run your AI applications, you need to have the right IT infrastructure that's actually capable of doing so. And at the very last, you also have organizational barriers. If you don't have an operating model, who's responsible for what? What do you buy and what do you make? If you don't have a strategy, how do you decide on the way you implement your AI use cases? And if you don't have a close look on compliance and risk management, who makes sure that your data doesn't get used to train ChatGPT, for instance? That's a lot. And it's not so easy to achieve that because it's an organizational change. And I want to provide you with an idea of how to solve that in order to not run into an AI prototype purgatory like we did with Industry 4.0. Think about your capabilities, your company as an operating system. I talked about 3 basic AI value drivers. That means that you can reuse things that you do in order to build the right infrastructure, in order to build the right IT capabilities, to use AI technologies again and again for different applications. What you see here is our approach on a company OS that's capable of doing so. So on the upper end, you see the IT layer. So the idea is very similar to what we provided as an idea with the Internet of Production. You have a business app store, so different applications that make use of AI, for instance. I mean, we also have a workflow engine, we have an analytics engine that's not only based on AI, but those business app store makes use of shared capabilities. And those shared capabilities are bundled in a core service layer. So the idea is that we need to use our AI engine again and again, and that could be used by business apps that we buy, and that could also be used by custom apps, that's the right-hand side on the upper half of the picture, that you build. But you always need to use the same algorithms, the same infrastructure again and again. Make use of it, because that's what makes AI manageable, and that's what makes AI actually valuable. Just to give you one example, if you have a custom app, you want to build an app on part recognition. Your app needs to be able to recognize shapes. Your app needs to be able to recognize sizes. And maybe your app needs to be able to recognize a thread of a screw, for instance. And those are capabilities that you could reuse. Because if you have a defect detection, maybe you can use the thread recognition again. And if each and everyone builds different use cases based on their own tech stack and on their own capabilities, you cannot make use of shared services. So, I mean, it's a very easy idea, but it's not so easy to adopt it into your company. So think about this OS approach, this operating system approach, just as an idea. The idea is to reuse commonly used services and capabilities. That means you need to have a central capability that is able of thinking about the right AI algorithms and the right AI engines that you need to use. And maybe one important thing here, this infrastructure, this idea of a company operating system does not mean that you need to build everything on your own. It just means that you design your architecture, that you're able to reuse things. You can still buy all those capabilities. Maybe you're an SME and you say it's not worth for me to have a whole department that's working on AI engines, that's working on the AI algorithms. Maybe you just have one AI manager that's responsible for building these architecture as a systems architecture, and then you buy all the different capabilities that you need. That's possible. It's possible to reuse things even if you have different service providers that build the different apps. But you, as a company, you are responsible for your architecture. If you say, I want to use AI, and here you can use ChatGPT and you can build something based on the Azure cloud, you can build something here, you can build something there, you're gonna land in the AI purgatory. I don't want you to do so. So maybe that's something to think about. And the start for a very interesting discussion, and I know very interesting presentations today that we're gonna have on AI success factors and sustainable value creation, on man and machine, and the AI reality check. Thank you very much for your attention.
Tobias, thank you so much for giving your keynote. You talked a lot about the company OS. I love the idea. I love the vision. So if you could make up a dream team, who should join you to build such a company OS? Who do you need to make it reality?
So to be honest, we need the whole economy. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something also from a research perspective, maybe. That's a vision. And you cannot achieve the vision with one company, and you cannot achieve the vision as one user. We need the whole economy. But right now, we need to speak about the idea. I'm sure that this is valuable to each and every stakeholder that's part of the company OS. We need someone to provide the infrastructure. We need someone to provide the model. And then we need specialists to provide the AI engine, specialists to provide the workflow engine, for instance. But it's possible, as long as we just provide the infrastructure, that the specialists provide the different services. And then the companies can build their own apps, and they can buy apps from all the different providers of business applications. So yeah, on the one hand, we need everyone. But on the other hand, we can start right away. So no one stops us from thinking about this type of architecture right now.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future we're gonna need standards, and that's something we're working on to provide those standards. So if you're interested in that, please talk to us, because that's one of our main research aspects as of today, to achieve that and to get those standards. And we want to talk about open standards. So we don't want to have gatekeeper business models. We want to have business models that are open, where the strongest partner in the economy just succeeds.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's super important. You talked about standards. So just to maybe circle back about the comparison from a company OS to a smartphone OS.
Yeah.
If I understand correctly, there can be totally different OSs, right? I could have my Android for my company or my Apple iOS version.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we need to figure out.
Yeah.
It's the idea of the operating system is to have shared services. So on your smartphone, each and every app can access your camera. Mm-hmm. And on iOS, actually, each and every app can access the Apple AI model.
Yeah.
Which is the start of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just access it as a user, so you can just start to write tasks and to give tasks as a consumer to the model.
Yeah.
But that's the start.
Yeah. So as we have this convention every year, it's kind of also a track on how far we get along over the time. Give us a little bit of a timeline. What do you think is realistic about a company OS? Are we talking about 10, 20 years? Are we talking of the fundamentals of the idea in 5 years? Or how far in the future is it?
So I think it would be very optimistic to think about 5 years, because I just talked about the last 15 years being on Industry 4.0, and actually we haven't achieved as much as we wanted to achieve. So I think it's going to be a process, and it's going to be a process that's going to take 10, 20, even more years, for instance. So might be even more than 20 years. But that doesn't mean that we cannot start right now. And if you take a close look on the strategy of the large software providers, for instance, SAP, you can see that they have a very clear focus on a platform strategy. And I'm really wondering whether they still want to provide ERP services in the future, or if they want to be the Microsoft Windows, the company OS of the future, where each and everyone can use the infrastructure that they provide as an operating system. Mm-hmm. So they haven't talked about it openly, but just take a look at the strategy decisions and make yourself an opinion of where the journey goes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for your insights and also for answering my questions.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Tobias.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.